Diddy has just been hit with his worst case yet. Diddy has just been accused of paying police officers and prosecutors to lie on his behalf and get people arrested for false crimes. The Michigan inmate, Derek Lee Cardello Smith, who filed a lawsuit against Diddy, now submitted affidavits from prosecutors, police officers, and more saying that Diddy set him up and put him in prison. Derek Lee Cardello Smith filed a lawsuit against Diddy claiming that he was SA'd by Diddy all the way back in 1997. And in his lawsuit, he was trying to subpoena J-Lo and Kirk Burrows on his behalf, saying that they knew this allegedly happened to him. He was claiming that J-Lo was a material witness because of her relationship with Diddy from 1999 to 2001, because he is alleging that his SA was recorded, distributed, and held by Diddy at his New York residence. And he was alleging during J-Lo's relationship with Diddy, she was made privy to the video that was taken by Diddy and his employee Kirk Burrows of this SA, which is honestly wild now to bring back up because Kirk Burrows just filed his lawsuit against Diddy like 2 weeks ago, and some of these allegations are kind of similar. And if you think this is crazy, just wait because it gets a lot crazier. Yesterday, Derek Lee Cardello Smith just filed a new lawsuit with Diddy named in this lawsuit, but it's for habeas corpus. He is alleging that he was falsely imprisoned because of Diddy. He says that Sean Combs framed me, and this is my petition seeking release from custody. He said a Detroit police officer named Nicole Rabber has submitted an affidavit on March 5th of 2025 alleging her role, where she said that she had been working with Sean Combs and she was paid to frame him, and she admitted her role in the form of this affidavit attached. And this is the affidavit from the police officer. She says, "My name is Nicole Rabber and I am an officer who authorized the police report in the city of Detroit on January 13th of 2008 against Derek Lee Cardello Smith, a current prisoner in the Michigan Department of Corrections." And the crazy part is he also has an affidavit from the woman that the police officer is talking about too, saying that she lied and she was also allegedly paid by Diddy to lie. She said, "I was ordered to make a false police report against Mr. Cardello Smith by Sean John Combs, or P. Diddy, Kim Worthy, Wayne County prosecutor, Suzette Samuels, assistant Wayne County prosecutor, Jose Ortiz, a detective at Detroit Police Department. I was paid a total of $132,000 in cash by Sean John Combs to issue the false police report of the kidnapping and SA against Derek Lee Cardello Smith." She said the arrest warrant was paid by her and the others to the judge of the 36th District Court, and he was paid a total of $5,000 for signing the warrant. And she alleges that this judge worked for Diddy and she was connected to him and forced to pay him, and she paid him the money for these warrants that she knew were false at the time. And he adds an affidavit from the woman that these alleged false crimes happened to. "My name is Adria Barmarano, and I state the following is true, and I will attest to them in an open court of law, whether it be criminal or civil. I am the civil complainant in the case of the people of the state of Michigan versus Derek Lee Cardello Smith, with the case number of that case." She said, "I lied under oath in the 36th District Court in the Wayne County Circuit Court when I said that Derek Lee Cardello Smith kidnapped me and SA'd me. Purpose of my false testimony in January 2008 and June 2008 is because she was paid by Suzette Samuels, the assistant prosecutor for Wayne County, to lie," which this prosecutor also puts in an affidavit. She said, "I was paid $10,000 to say that Cardello Smith kidnapped me and SA'd me, and I was given this money by the Wayne County prosecutor, David Cobb, and the sergeant of the Detroit Police Department. I worked directly for Sean Combs of Bad Boy Records, and I was actually a young victim of Sean Combs, and he SA'd me." She said that Diddy was the one that forced her to lie and say that Derek Lee Cardello Smith SA'd her when he did not. And she said that the Wayne County prosecutor's office who paid her to lie and paid her sister to lie also, and say that Derek Lee Cardello Smith SA'd both of them. She alleges that she was paid directly by Diddy in 2007 to bring on SA charges against Derek Lee Cardello Smith. She She is alleging that the purpose for bringing on these false charges against Derek Lee Cardello Smith is because Diddy, Dave Cobb, Kyle Worthy, and other people wanted Derek Lee Cardello Smith out of the way because he refused to off somebody for David Cobb. Then it gets even crazier because he also has an affidavit from the prosecutor, Suzette Samuels. She says, "My name is Suzette Samuels. I am a lawyer and I am assistant prosecutor attorney for the Wayne County Prosecutor's Office in Detroit, Michigan. I prosecuted Mr. Derek Lee Cardello Smith in the criminal case of the people versus the state of Michigan. Worked directly for Kim Worthy, Wayne County prosecutor, and for Mr. Sean John Combs. The office of the Wayne County prosecutor has framed Mr. Derek Lee Cardello Smith for the crimes of the criminal SA conduct beginning in 1997 and in 2008 and then again in 2019 while he was incarcerated. The person who directed these prosecutions were and still are Mr. Sean John Combs and Kim Worthy, the current Wayne County prosecutor. Diddy and the prosecutor ordered the Detroit Police Department's 9th Circuit to arrest and frame Derek Lee Cardello Smith for multiple SAs that he did not commit. And she said that Diddy and the prosecutor directed her to use her powers at the office as assistant Wayne County prosecutor to falsely charge and convict Mr. Derek Lee Cardello Smith with 6 counts of criminal SA conduct. 2 counts of kidnapping, which I did out of fear for my life, and which I did because I was paid to do so. But then it gets even crazier because she said she's done this many other times, totaling 128 black male citizens of Detroit, Flint, and other counties in Michigan that were investors of Bad Boy Records prior to 1997. She then alleged that Diddy ordered the prosecutor to prosecute Derek Lee Cardello Smith for these crimes to keep him in prison after Diddy had taken a $150,000 investment from him. That Derek Lee Cardello Smith was demanding a notarized receipt from a notary over Diddy stealing this $150,000. And then she went on to say that Diddy allegedly sent 3 men to off Derek Lee Cardello Smith in 1997 while him and a female companion were exiting a Detroit movie theater. Derek Lee Cardello Smith ended up fighting this man back after being injured, and that man passed away. And then she said that Derek Lee Cardello Smith was placed under arrest for second-degree, and then it was hidden, and he ended up being sent to prison for multiple counts of criminal SA conduct. She then went on to say that the Detroit mayor at the time, Michael Duggan, and other officials tried to cover up the crime, and she played a key role with the police department and Sean John Combs, who was personally involved, and other members of Wayne County and current high-ranking Wayne County government officials to hide the offing of this man and unlawfully place Cardello Smith in custody of the Michigan Department of Corrections for crimes of SA conduct. Diddy was always personally involved in directed meetings in order to cover up the SA that he committed upon Derek Lee Cardello Smith to ensure that Cardello Smith never collected his rightful claims to the 49% of Bad Boy Records and holdings. She even alleged that Diddy and the prosecutor are who paid cash directly to a contact offer to try to take out Derek Lee Cardello Smith. And this is when they would frame Derek Lee Cardello Smith for the SA charges. He even went on to say that the 2 victims that falsely accused Derek Lee Cardello Smith were allegedly victims of Diddy. She then goes on to say, I paid $5,000 to a 36th district court judge to secure a arrest warrant for Derek Lee Cardello Smith in January of 2008. She paid $5,000 to Judge Willis of the 36th District Court to falsely determine that there was enough evidence to make sure Derek Lee Cardello Smith could stand trial in Wayne County Circuit Court. She paid $10,000 to Judge Daniel in the 3rd Circuit Court of Wayne County to grant all of her motions in the Circuit Court and secure a conviction of Derek Lee Cardello Smith, denying every every motion that was entitled to be given, resulting in his plea of no contest. Then she says that she paid another judge $4,300 in the Third Circuit Court to deny Derek Lee Cardillo Smith's post-conviction motions. And then she said that she paid Judge Bridget of the Third Circuit Court Judge of Wayne County $23,000 from January 2019 throughout February 1st of 2025 to deny all Derek Lee Cardillo Smith's rightful motions that he was entitled to be granted. And it's weird because Derek Lee Cardillo Smith did have to file different motions before he filed his lawsuit against Diddy. It was done in state court, and then he eventually took it to federal court. Said that Mr. Cobb committed in 2008 when Derek Lee Cardillo Smith was going to call him as a witness in his criminal case at trial, but it was not. It was actually an offing ordered by Diddy and the prosecutor, and he passed 2 days before Derek Lee Cardillo Smith's trial was to begin. She also alleged that Diddy used the prosecutor who used the Detroit police officer Patrick Jackson and another Detroit police officer to work with 2 Los Angeles police officers to off Tupac. She said the Wayne County Prosecutor's Office has destroyed all offing files beginning in 1995 through 2003, and this was done to hide the offing that Derek Lee Cardillo Smith originally committed in self-defense. She also says, I have video footage of Derek Lee Cardillo Smith being framed for multiple essays at the direction of Diddy and the prosecutor. I also have video of Diddy's essay victims being coerced and forced to testify falsely that Derek Lee Cardillo Smith committed these horrific acts of SA against them. She also said, I have documents that support that Derek Lee Cardillo Smith was threatened by Diddy, that if he went through with his SA charges against Diddy, that Derek Lee Cardillo Smith and his family and friends' lives would be threatened. I state that I am a direct employee of Sean Combs while I'm in my office. I framed Derek Lee Cardillo Smith and other men who I prosecuted, and I did so on the orders of Sean Combs, and it was to hide 2 things. 1, Sean Combs' SA of Derek Lee Cardillo Smith, and 2, to stop Derek Lee Cardillo Smith from collecting his rightful entitled contractual agreement reached between himself and Sean Combs for the $150,000 in exchange for 49% of all holdings of Sean Combs. And it was also to cover up the facts that Tupac Shakur was offed on orders of Sean Combs, and the attempted offing of Suge Knight in 1996, and to cover up multiple crimes that our office and Sean Combs and part of all kept to keep Derek Lee Cardillo Smith silent as an original member and investor of Bad Boy Records. And like all these other affidavits, she says, I swear and declare under the penalty of perjury that the above events described are true. Ooh, I don't know what in the world this case is, but honestly, I think this is one of the craziest lawsuits that Diddy has right now. But y'all let me know what you guys think about all this in the comments.